Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online VGC Series 7 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today is the start of a brand new rank season. We're still in Series 7. Series 7 will be in effect for the next 2 months, so the rules haven't changed, it's just that the ladder has reset. So we are actually going to be using the team that finished number 1 on the ladder last season. It was piloted by a player called Zine. I'm sure you've heard of Zine if you've watched this channel because we used a lot of his teams throughout the course of the season, and it is really interesting to see some of the components of this team. As you can see, there is a Life Orb Zapdos, very hyper offensive, Shukaberry Heatran, as well as a full Incense Grimmsnarl. So I think one thing that's been interesting about Series 7 is seeing how the metagame has kind of progressed, and Zapdos is not exactly the most common Pokemon, but it's one that I think can be really powerful, especially because it outspeeds the majority of the metagame. So, as always, I've linked Zine's Twitter in the description below. This is a rental, so feel free to try it out yourselves, and yeah, let's just get into it. The team definitely revolves around, using the strongest Dynamax options in Zapdos, Landorus, and potentially Heatran as well, and you also have Fake Tears on the Grimmsnarl. This Grimmsnarl set's really interesting because it doesn't have Fake Out, it's not Light Clay, and those are typically like the two sets that you would expect from players. Sometimes, obviously, Fake Out is run with the screen set as well. Instead, you have a little bit of everything. You've got Reflect, you've got Trick, but not the eject button stuff. You've got Fake Tears to combo with Zapdos and Heatran, and then Spirit Break just for some offense, helps out against opposing Urshifus and can also decrease the special attack from opposing special attackers. And then Rillaboom and Urshifu are just two of the best offensive attackers as non-Dynamax options. You're very rarely going to be Dynamaxing those, but they give you a fair amount of flexibility. So I think Zapdos, Heatran are probably going to be the stars of this team, but AV Landers, definitely is just a really consistent Pokemon, and the Grimmsnarl is the set that I am most interested in trying out. So let's just jump on the ladder and see how things go. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, we're 1 month into Series 7 now, and like I mentioned, there's still 2 months left in the format before Series 8 rolls around, so I would love to know, what are your thoughts on the format at this point? Have you been enjoying it? Do you think that things are getting stale, or do you think that it's still super fun to play? Let me know in the comments below. I think for me personally, I have actually been surprised at how much I have liked Series 7 so far. I think that there is a lot of flexibility and there's a lot of room for creativity as well. And I think part of it is because the metagame isn't really being pushed too much right now with the lack of in real life events. So, you'll have players play on the ladder, but you won't have any huge meta breakthroughs. But I think with the end of this last rank season, I'll be featuring a lot of the teams that were able to top the ladder, and I think a couple of those teams have some really interesting components that may shake up the metagame going forward. And I think Japan specifically, this Grimmsnarl set has actually been pretty popular in the last couple of weeks, and that's not something that I've really seen many players outside of Japan use thus far. So it's always interesting to kind of see regional metagames as well, and what picks up in certain areas before others. So yeah. And personally, I'm just really excited to use Zapdos. I think Zapdos is kind of an underrated Pokemon at the moment. It gets insane kind of coverage, but it's also really bulky, right? There aren't that many Pokemon that can effectively one-shot it, and Fake Tears plus a Max Move from Zapdos can really destroy a lot of opposing Pokemon. So let's get into the first game of today's episode. Alright, this looks like a familiar team. So we are going up against the exact team we just finished using. It's Prince's team. What do I want to go with here? We have so many options. Reflect here is valuable. Mamoswine is actually a pretty big problem for us. But I guess if I go up against Mamoswine, I could probably just go Grimmsnarl, Zapdos, Fake Tears, Max Flare. But I think Tailwind is obviously the main threat from the opposing end right now. Tailwind's a pretty big problem. Now, the full Incense Trick stuff here is actually very valuable. So I think we're going to bring out Grimmsnarl because we probably want to trick the full Incense into whatever Dynamax is. And I think whatever comes out as a lead is going to be likely to Dynamax right from the start. So I think you'd probably lead Whimsicott from the opposing side. The question is who you pair it off with. Whimsicott plus Mamoswine looks really good, actually. So I might actually just go with Grimmsnarl plus the Urshifu. Try to get the trick off. I think I want Zapdos in the back for sure. Zapdos looks pretty good here. And for the last one... this one's tricky, because Rillaboom's really good against Mamoswine. Heatran doesn't seem that good here, especially with Scorching Sands on the Moltres. I actually think I'm going to bring the Landorus, because Landorus helps me a lot against the Regieleki. And with Assault Vest, we match up pretty well into Moltres as well. So that, Landorus alone invalidates 2 Pokemon on my opponent's end. Now, It's not very good into Mamoswine, obviously, but I feel like I have a fair amount of Mamoswine answers, so let's see. The other nice thing about Grimmsnarl is it, baits a Fake Out on turn 1, so it might force my opponent to switch out Whimsicott. It is Whimsicott Mamoswine. That's the lead I was hoping to see, so I'll take that. Because this is definitely going to be a turn 1 trick onto a Mamoswine. Yeah, I think it's just going to be Trick into Mamoswine and Close Combat into it. What am I worried about here? Ice Shard Moonblast into Urshifu, I suppose, is the one problem. It's actually kind of scary. Like, if I'm my opponent, I would consider Ice Shard Moonblast. But you have to respect the Fake Out option from my end, right? I guess Mamoswine actually maybe switches out here, right? That would also make some sense. Okay, I'm down to Trick and Close Combat it, though. Yeah. Okay, they Protect. That's fine by me, because I just Close Combat you through Protect. Even if you Moonblast Urshifu, that works out. And they just Tailwind. Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's really risky to Protect in front of an Urshifu, so I get to punish this super heavily. That's why I thought this play was relatively safe regardless of what my opponent goes for. So this trick is actually going to be so helpful against whatever comes in and Dynamaxes against me. We also just eliminated the biggest threat to Landorus, which is really, really big here. So I think the one thing I was worried about was the Landorus switching. Mamoswine switching out. But I don't... the thing with the team, Prince's team, is that you really don't want to switch out. Like, you really want to just, like, steamroll with Hyper Offense immediately. So now I can just go for a trick here onto Moltres, honestly, and go for a Wicked Blow. Because I have the Focus Sash on Urshifu as well as the trick, like, I think we're just in a really, really good spot right now. Even if you protect Moltres, like, Trick always has priority because of Prankster. And as long as I get the full instance onto Moltres, Landorus can come in and probably just sweep this game, actually, at this point already. Because I can just Dynamax it, and the full instance basically invalidates the immediate Tailwind. So, full instance is really interesting. I mean, it's basically like Lagging Tail. And it's very hard to predict. And I think, like, I'm not surprised to see this team, climb up to #1 on the ladder, because going up against this just, like, can give you such a big advantage immediately. Okay, so it's going to be Moonblast coming out into the Grimmsnarl as well. That's more than fine with me. I don't even really need Grimmsnarl at this point. And it's just Max Airstream coming out, which is also fine by me, into Urshifu. Perfect. So my opponent split their attacks as well. I actually probably would have preferred them to just get a KO there, so I get a free switch in into a Landorus, but, I'm selling out another turn of their Tailwind, which is fine. And the way Lagging Tail or Full Instance works, basically, is that it's the speed drop, like, doesn't apply immediately, because it's not really a speed drop. It basically puts you in the... Oh, Flame Body activates, actually. It gives me a free switch into Landorus. I'll take it. What I was going to say is it basically drops you to the lowest... you go last in your priority bracket, right? But it doesn't apply the turn of. Do I want to go to Zapdos, actually? Who does my opponent have in the back? Regieleki, Duraludon, Urshifu. I mean, I'm worried about fake tier stuff from the Whimsicott, right? I think I can probably just go Landorus. Yeah, especially with the Salt Vest. Moltres really shouldn't do too much to us, right? The other cool thing is we can trick the Whimsicott and then just Airstream it for a KO. Yeah, I think... I don't know. Actually, I mean, the Zapdos is probably stronger as a max option, whereas Landorus is better as a non-max option. Let's see. There's, what, 2 more turns of Tailwind? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm just going to trick into the Whimsicott then. Dynamax and Rockfall. Actually, hold on. Does my opponent have any special attackers that could be a major threat to the Landorus? I guess the answer is Duraludon. So if you Fake Tears me, KO... I mean, I have to KO the Moltres, though, I think. I can't let my Landorus take... Yeah. I'm just going to trick away the Focus Sash from Whimsicott. Dynamax. Oh, do I even need to do it? Because I'm setting up the Sand anyway with Rockfall, right? Well, if Moltres max guards, this is what it covers. I don't know. Zapdos may have been the better option to go into. Yeah, because I could just max Lightning, I guess, right? I think Zapdos was actually probably the better option. But because I have the AV on Landorus, I felt a little bit more comfortable going into it. Now, I could have gone doubled up onto a Whimsicott here immediately, because I think Moltres might consider max guarding, but it doesn't. Okay, it's just Fake Tears coming out. See, the thing is with Assault Vest, I feel like even if you like, modest... Oh, I can take the Life Orb away from a Duraludon, too, actually, which is really big. Okay. He gets the Charcoal. We get the KO here. The trick covers for Moltres Max Guarding, just so then it doesn't have the Focus Sash, but maybe Spirit Break would have been better there. It doesn't really do that much damage, though. So the nice thing here is now, like, Whimsicott's just so useless offensively. And turn 1 gave us so much momentum, because I needed to get rid of Mamoswine to get Landorus or Zapdos in safely. That's why I didn't need Zapdos or Landorus, because if I led either, I'm in really bad shape. Like, I pretty much have to switch out either of those on turn 1, so this is an example where your opponent has such a big threat, you just have to respect it coming out as a lead. Okay, their last one's Regieleki. Well, that's fine, right? Because the only way you can touch the Landorus is with a Hyper Beam, but I can just trick away the Specs, and there's no way you KO us afterwards. I'm just going to trick Max Quake into Regieleki. Yeah, they're just going to go for another Fake Tears, but that's fine. The Grimmsnarl was the MVP of this one for sure, being able to just swap all the items away. Like, we ended up taking 3 items away from my opponent. Got rid of Moltres' Charcoal, Whimsicott's Focus Sash. Neither of those were super relevant, but the main thing was shutting down Moltres with the trick stuff. So this is really interesting, right? Because did they miss the Hyper Beam? That's unfortunate. I don't think that's KOing, though, without Choice Specs and with me having Assault Vest. But I'll do that damage calc after the game. Hilariously enough, I do give Regieleki the Focus Sash. My best bet is that does like 50% at best, but I'm curious, so let's find out. Regieleki into Landorus-T, Hyper Beam, Modest, against -4, Spadef, Dynamax, item, Assault Vest. Yeah, even if you're Modest Max against no bulk Dynamax Landorus, it does 58 to 68, so not really much that could have really happened there. Yeah, plus, like, I would survive a Moonblast from the Whimsicott the subsequent turn, and I have a Zapdos in the back as well, obviously. So, I felt like we were in a really, really good shape after turn 1. Knocking out Mamoswine to get Landorus in safely just put us in such an advantageous position, so I'm happy about that. But obviously it helped that we knew our opponent's team, given that we just featured it on this channel as well. So, yeah, I think the thing is, the Grimmsnarl here is so big. Well, we already know the team here. The Grimmsnarl is so big, right? Because it helps me basically shut down whatever's next to the Tailwind user. So it's actually a really cool trick. Like this lagging tail stuff, I think was explored, or Spirit Incense, I guess. Full Incense was explored in the very beginning with Grimmsnarl. Like, you know, I think like a lot of players like using eject button when they use trick. But this is really cool because it helps you against either the Trick Room or the Tailwind matchup, right? So because if you think about the common setups in the metagame, it's like, okay, let me use one Pokemon to set up speed control for the other Pokemon to sweep. And then this Pokemon under whatever speed control I'm setting up should just either outspeed anything, whether it be Tailwind or Trick Room. But then with this Grimmsnarl set, you can just basically get rid of their item and make them go last in their priority bracket, basically invalidating that speed control. And then you have the other Pokemon that set up that speed control, whether it be something like a Dusclops, Porygon 2, Whimsicott, Tornadus. Those are not Pokemon that do a lot of damage, and so they kind of stick on the field awkwardly, and they can't really do very much either. And then Grimmsnarl provides really good utility because not only can you lower the opposing special attack, but you can also reflect to increase your own defense. So, there's a lot of cool things about this set. Alright, next team here is pretty interesting. I mean, I want to max Zapdos here. Why wouldn't I max Zapdos? Landorus actually... Well, actually, the fear about maxing Landorus is the Milotic. I don't know, I just want to keep bringing this Grimmsnarl. It's so cool. If I go Grimmsnarl, what's my... Grimmsnarl and Zapdos, what's my play? I need to worry about the Marowak as a potential switch-in, right? That's my main concern. This is a game where all of our Pokemon make a lot of sense, to be honest. I don't know what the right ones are and the wrong ones are. These matches always feel harder to me because I always, like, after the game, I feel like I've understood what I needed to bring, but during Team Preview, it's a little bit trickier. So if you struggle with Team Preview, trust me, everyone does. I kind of want to lead Zapdos here. What's my hesitation? I guess Regieleki as a lead is kind of scary. But I can never lead Landorus here, because if I lead Landorus into Milotic, it's really, really bad. I just can't risk that. Heatran is tempting, but I guess we probably don't bring it. I think we probably bring the bottom 4 here. So I'm going to try Grimmsnarl, Zapdos, Landorus, Rillaboom. We still want Landorus because I think Intimidate's really valuable against Marowak, Landorus, Kartana. Even Rock Slide is pretty good against Moltres, and we could potentially Dynamax Landorus if the lead goes poorly here. My plan coming into this game is to Dynamax Zapdos, but this is an example of like how you should just consider flexibility in choosing who to Dynamax. So Grimmsnarl can be pretty good here. The lack of Fake Out may hurt us a little bit. It's going to be Moltres, Regieleki. I feel like if you're leading this, you're definitely going to, first of all, go out into Marowak, right? Like, I think it's so likely that Regieleki switches out and goes out into Marowak. So, honestly, I kind of want to just go for Trick onto the Moltres, Dynamax my Zapdos, and just Airstream into Regieleki. Because I think if you're leading... I mean, I guess you could self-Volt Switch here, but that's so risky. Actually, is it? You do a lot of damage. But the thing is, this is like, I don't know, self-Volt Switch seems kind of risky here, but maybe it works because you switch out for, no, it is risky, right? Because if I just went Fake Out Regieleki, Max Lightning, Moltres, you're doomed. So what I'm hoping here is for my opponent to Volt Switch into one of my Pokemon, go out into Marowak, we one-shot Marowak, get rid of Moltres' item, and give it Lagging Tail. Or not Lagging Tail, same effect. Okay, they switch out Moltres, that's fine. Marowak? Oh, Landorus, okay. I'm also fine getting rid of that thing's item. Curious what Regieleki goes for. Yeah, I was like, expecting the Marowak switching, but like this also works. I don't think Moltres ever stays in that position. Okay, they're not Dynamaxing Regieleki. After, what was it? Which episode do we have in which Regieleki Dynamaxed? I forget, but it's always something to potentially anticipate. Could be Electroweb. That could be a little bit scary. Marowak on a team with Regieleki is pretty interesting, I have to say. But I can get up Reflect here. Yeah, so we'll get rid of Landorus' item. I think this is still a fine play. I mean, I think I had to respect Moltres potentially staying in. Ooh, Scarfed. And they Volt Switch into Grimmsnarl. That's fine by me. Because whatever's coming in now is going to take a Life Orb Max Airstream, and I don't really think anything on my opponent's team really wants to take a Life Orb Max Airstream. I can also just trick away the Scarf this next turn, and then, yeah, they bring in Marowak. Very nice. Okay, great. Because if we get rid of that, now my opponent's Moltres is in such a bad spot. Yeah, we just one-shot Marowak too. This is why you run Hurricane, by the way, for the extra increased damage output. Like, it really does make a difference when you consider you're also using Life Orb. So, yeah, the main thing in this first turn is to just not get baited in using an electric type attack. Like, Regieleki is still going to take 50+% from a Max Airstream. You always just have to ask yourself, like, what the worst case scenario is and how likely that scenario is going to be. Personally, I think the worst case scenario in this match was probably going to be self-Volt Switch, Dynamax, Moltres, and then Max Darkness, Zapdos. But even then, like, we should survive that, so it's not that scary. Do I Trick or do I Reflect here is the question. Huh. I've got Rillaboom and Landorus in the back. Both of those are really good for me. We know the opposing Landorus is stuck going last now. I'm leaning towards Reflect, to be honest. Wait, I have Fake Tears, too. Can't I just Fake Tears Airstream Landorus? That doesn't seem too bad. Yeah, we know they're not Assault Vested either. Okay, I'm kind of down for that. Because I don't think Regieleki is that scary, especially with our... Okay, and they don't Dynamax, which is smart. I don't think they should here. But that's just another KO onto Landorus now. They're going to go Light Screen. Okay, I don't think that saves my opponent here. That also confirms their screens, which is good to know. Okay, nice. Should get a KO here. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Wow, this Grimmsnarl set's actually beautiful. Like, it's so smart. I knew it would be good, but now actually just trying it out, like, the amount of flexibility it gives you is actually incredible. So I love seeing, like, Pokemon that have been in the metagame for a while be explored in new ways. I think it's just so neat. Okay, so Moltres comes back out. We have Rillaboom as the last one. Don't know the item on Moltres. I think it's likely going to be Weakness Policy. We haven't won this yet, so we actually have to be a little bit careful. But with Landorus and Rillaboom in the back, it's looking okay. I think it's probably just another Fake Tears onto Moltres and Max Lightning. I'm down for that. Oh, I can't Fake Tears Moltres. Ah, I forgot about that. Oh, that's actually a really big misplay. Oh. Whoops. That may actually be a problem. The play was to switch out the Grimmsnarl into Landorus and then max Airstream, so I give Landorus a speed boost. Moltres could actually sweep through me right now. Ah, I really should have thought about that. Forgot about the dark immunity. Yeah, that was a misplay. And I'm very likely going to activate a weakness policy right now as well. Yeah. Still decent damage, though, I have to say. So I'll take it. But question here is whether my opponent max Airstreams or max Darknesses. Yeah. I also wonder if you self-Volt Switch to try to activate your policy here. Because I think that's definitely possible. No, they just Volt Switch Zapdos. Yeah, I'd probably fainted this double up now. What a bad play on my end. Ugh. Yeah. Okay. Actually, the upside, though, is like they did not get a... They did not get... What do I want to say here? I think it's still fine. Actually, I don't know if it's still fine. It's definitely going to ban Rillaboom, right? And one-shot the Regieleki, but I don't know if my Landorus can take an attack from the Moltres. Because Moltres will be faster if you... You should always max Airstream. That... Not switching on Grimmsnarl may have actually cost me, and that's my bad. Don't forget those Prankster interactions. I, like, realized as soon as I locked in, and that was a silly mistake. Okay, so we're going to switch out into Landorus. I guess this is slightly risky, but I don't think you target the Grimmsnarl slot here. If you do, props, because that's a really good play. And I'll just go for the Glide to one-shot Regieleki. It might be Sashed, I guess, but I think Glide Clay is more likely. Yeah, if I just swapped Grimmsnarl out last turn into Rillaboom, and then I got Grimmsnarl back in, like, the thing is I basically get an extra attack off, right? Last turn I completely wasted my turn, and that was not good. Yeah, Moltres could sweep through me now. I probably shouldn't have activated the policy too, but I thought there was a slight chance they would try to self-activate the policy. Okay, no Protect on Regieleki, that's good at least. Banded Glide, nice, they're not sashed. So it's a 3v1, but we should get KO'd here on the Rillaboom slot, presumably. Airstream, yep. So now it's Choice Scarf Grimmsnarl and Landorus against the Moltres. I just thought of a really cool play, but I don't know if... I don't one-shot Moltres with Rock Slides. I don't think it works. The play I was thinking is actually tricking... Wait, I mean, actually maybe could work. Tricking the Choice Scarf onto Landorus, so then Landorus outspeeds Moltres, and then we get a Rock Slide off. And then I've got Assault Vest on Grimmsnarl. My fear here is that Moltres is slow, so that Grimmsnarl with Scarf actually outspeeds it somehow. Wait, no, I don't think it will, right? No, I don't think it will. It might just be Rock Slide Spirit Break then. I don't know. That play could have been kind of sick. You go for Max Darkness. Okay, Lander survives. I think we're good then. Because, oh, you can Fiery Wrath now next turn. Plus I have this special defense drop. No, but if I trick there, actually, I'd go before the Moltres, which means I'd activate Berserk. Which means I would definitely lose, right? Yeah, because then Landorus just gets one shot. Oh, Spirit Break picks up the knockout. Nice, nice. Okay, I blundered this game by forgetting about Prankster into Dark types, so don't make that same mistake I did. We were good anyway because I had a pretty early lead, but like for how well I played, I feel like the first couple of turns, I really, like, I think if anything, that just highlights how one turn can really change things, especially if your opponent is Dynamaxing after you. That's why conserving Dynamax is such a key skill in this format. My opponent did a good job not Dynamaxing until my Dynamax was pretty much over. I wonder if Fake Tears Max Flare would have KO'd Regieleki, because if so, then we could have done that and then forced it to be a 4v1 matchup, essentially. That may have been the better play, because then I also don't activate your weakness policy. I can take your weakness policy away. That's all pretty good. This is a cool team. Okay. Who do I Dynamax here? It's probably Landorus, right? My opponent doesn't have any super effective water or ice type attacks, it looks like. I love this Grimmsnarl, and I want to keep bringing it. I feel like it's decent here as well. Maybe not as decent, though, given the super effective Sludge Bomb from the... I think we still bring it, though, because of the Tailwind from Tornadus. Like, this just shuts things down. But I have to remember that I can't use my Prankster attacks against either Incineroar or Urshifu. Not that I would most likely use it on either of those, but just something to keep in the back of my mind. The reason Zapdos is risky here is because he gets destroyed by the Nihilego. And should my opponent lead Tornadus Nihilego, like, I kind of just lose to that immediately, and that's really bad. So I'm leaning towards a Grimmsnarl Landorus lead here. I feel like that's pretty safe. Yeah, I like that, I think. Heatran's actually kind of interesting here, but obviously the opposing Urshifu is somewhat of a problem. Yeah, I don't think Rillaboom is it here, right? Zapdos is tempting. I think, first of all, I need to bring my Urshifu. The Sash against this kind of hyper offense just helps out so much. But I don't know who to bring as the last one. Zapdos, Rillaboom, or Heatran? I'm going to go with Banded Rillaboom here, just because in a matchup in which my opponent might be faster than me, I like the idea of having priority from Grassy Glide. Yeah. But I think, once again, the Grimmsnarl is so critical in shutting down. Like, this is such a clever answer, like I mentioned, to both Trick Room and Tailwind. And it's just genius team building. And it's stuff like this that really, in my opinion, like can push the metagame forward, so love to see stuff like that. Tornadus Kartana. Okay, Zapdos would have absolutely demolished this, but I think I'm fine with this lead as well, because I get an Intimidate off against the Kartana. I can also trick the item away, but this would have been a reason to have Zapdos instead. Because I think if you're my opponent, you probably want to, like, I don't have great offense against this Kartana, right? I brought 3 physical Pokemon up against it. I'm down to Reflect, I think. I don't even know if I want to Dynamax Landorus, to be honest. But what's my opponent's... what scares me here? I guess Incineroar switching in is scary. Yeah, actually, because of the instant switch, I don't think I really need to outspeed Kartana immediately. I'm down to go for a Reflect here. My only hesitation is I don't even know if I want to Rock Fall. Like, I could just Rock Slide instead. But I guess I have to Dynamax Landorus in this game, right? Because if Kartana targets Landorus, that could be slightly annoying. Yeah, I'm going to Reflect Rock Fall turn 1. It looks like Kartana's not maxing. Okay. Or they're just really slow, but that'd be surprising. So Zapdos would have absolutely crushed this lead, because I can just Heat Wave turn 1. But I don't regret, once again, because should my opponent lead Nihilego and I lead Zapdos, well, then I guess I could Protect turn 1 and Trick. Actually, wait. Because Nihilegos almost always run, like, Power Herb stuff now, maybe I could have gotten away with... Yeah, maybe I could have gotten away with Grimmsnarl and Zapdos as a lead. Because I can just take your Power Herb away and completely invalidate you. Okay, they're just going to Smart Trick. Yeah, that's fine. I'm glad now I actually didn't trick any of the item away from the Kartana as well. So we knock out the Tornadus cleanly. Yeah, my opponent has Tailwind up, but I can also reflect this. Or, sorry, I already reflected. I can trick whatever's coming in, which is so good. And yeah, they have Sash, but the Sand just takes care of it. So I'll take the trade of Tornadus for 1 turn of Dynamax here. I think that's worth it. Now, I think this Kartana is still kind of a problem, though, because I didn't bring the Zapdos, and I'm just kind of surprised my opponent led that lead because of how well Zapdos does into it. But good call on their end. Yeah, I don't know. Grimmsnarl Zapdos could have been pretty interesting. Could have been pretty interesting. I'm really curious who my opponent Dynamaxes at this point. Okay, they bring out Urshifu. I mean, that's fine. I can just Airstream that thing. Like, you're bringing physical Pokemon into a fight in which I just set up Reflect, right? So I don't think that's much of a problem. I'm just going to trick onto the Kartana and just go for an Airstream here into Urshifu. That feels pretty safe, especially with Reflect. Yeah, you can crit through Reflect with Wicked Blow, but even Banded Wicked Blow... plus, like Kartana does no damage into Landorus at this point, right? Even if you Dynamax it, you're using a -1 max move against Landorus. So even if you're banned crit Wicked Blow into, like, Max Steel Spike, I'm pretty sure I survived that. And then Airstream plus Sand should definitely KO the Urshifu. We know Urshifu is not Focus Sash, so it's likely going to be Choice Band, but it could be something like Black Glasses or Scarf as well. They don't Dynamax. Okay, interesting. The lack of Dynamax may help them here, actually. I think that's a good decision. And they're AV. Okay. It just goes for Leaf Blade. Yeah, going for a crit makes sense. Okay. Now this actually may hurt because I didn't save the trick for whatever Pokemon's going to Dynamax on my opponent's end. So that's actually a really big question. Who do you have in the back and what is, like, I mean, it's going to Dynamax, right? Is it Regidrago? And can it one-shot Dynamax Landorus this next turn with the Assault Vest? That's the other question. I think that play actually makes sense for my opponent's end. Yeah, you just get the damage on the Landorus and basically stall out one more turn of my Dynamax. Yeah. Zapdos is super good into everything my opponent brought, so I'm kind of frustrated. Like, if they don't bring out the Nihilego here, like, Zapdos would have 4v1 this game. So let's see what the last one is. It is Nihilego. Okay. I don't even think you can KO us here, to be honest. Right? Like, we have Assault Vest. What are you really doing with Nihilego here? Let's see, I've got Urshifu Rillaboom in the back. We're always going to outspeed the Kartana now, right? Which is great. There's no point in Fake Tears. Well, I'm locked in here. And I don't want to switch out into either of these, right? Yeah, because these are the win conditions at this point. So I've got double Assault Vest right now, hilariously enough. Yeah, I think my opponent's kind of pinned. Because this is always going last. I can always Max Quake into Nihilego, and it does so much damage. So, I'm content just going for Spirit Break and Max Quake here into Nihilego. Because Nihilego Dynamaxes, I guess the question is whether or not Nihilego can one-shot us. You could also Dynamax and then target the Landorus with the Leaf Blade, but if you don't crit, I just outspeed next turn because I Airstream for a speed boost. Because Tailwind's about to end. Yeah, so they Dynamax Nihilego, which is fine by me. I mean, it's not the ideal choice for my opponents, and it's not what you want to max typically with the team like that. So, I'll take it. And they don't max guard. Okay, so they're hoping to pick up the KO with Rockfall, but with Assault Vest, I think we should survive. Let's see. Yeah, well done. Let's go. Nice. Yep, and Max Quake here plus Spirit Break should I mean, Max Quake should pick up the one-hit KO. Yeah, perfect. Nice, nice, nice. So once again, you can see how good this strategy is, just getting rid of your opponent's item. And invalid. Like, not only do you get rid of their item, but you also make them go so slowly. And because, like, Grimmsnarl with this set is right now super uncommon, people just don't see it coming. Okay, we get Spirit Break off. Yeah, I feel like they had to have Nihilego in the back, and them actually having Nihilego in the back helped us in this one. Like, because in the end, it just meant that Landorus, you know, cleaned up pretty safely. So, Smart Shark comes out. This Grimmsnarl is so clutch. I love the Reflect Spirit Break combination as well, because, like, we needed Spirit Break to win that second game for damage against that Moltres. So, Dynamax ends now, and Kartana's always going last. Yeah, I mean, we can just Spirit Break and, I guess, Fly. I'll U-turn. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. All we need to do is basically get Urshifu in cleanly. For a match like this, I mean, like, it's actually pretty much impossible to, well, the one way you can throw is if you actually willingly switch in Urshifu and he gets crit by a Leaf Blade. No, but I think Landorus has enough Earthquakes in the tank to really close this one out at this point anyway, so we have such a big lead that I think it's actually impossible to throw. But you always have to ask yourself when you feel like you have a big lead, like, how can I potentially just toss the game? Is there a play that gets my opponent back into the game? And in the previous one, it was me going for Fake Tears on a Moltres. That was just a blatant misplay, but, you know, you just have to, sometimes you make those mistakes and you learn from them so that you don't make them again. Alright, it's a brand new season, so I'll play a fourth match, especially because we only got 2 ranked games in yesterday. This team is super fun, though. I love the Grimmsnarl set. It's just so smart. It is so smart. Okay. Wow, interesting. More Tailwind stuff. This is why I think this Grimmsnarl set, by the way, is so smart, because so many people on the ladder like to use Tailwind and Trick Room, like one of the two, just because, you know, they're the, like, 2 easiest means of speed control to play around. And so with that, like, this team just has a really good answer for both of those packaged in one with Grimmsnarl. Now, of course, if you go up against like Psychic Terrainity, you can't go for the tricks nearly as easily, but you also have terrain control with Rillaboom, so it's not the end of the world. I think it's leading Grimmsnarl again. The opponent's team is pretty interesting. I think from that, I expect Weakness Policy on Blastoise, Self-Giga Drain from the Comfey, potential Trick Room on Comfey, Screens maybe on Jolteon, but potential Life Orb Dynamax option as well. Although I think Cinderace is more likely to have the Life Orb. So obviously Tailwind stuff with Whimsicott as well. But if I can trick full Incense once again onto the Cinderace, that's pretty good for us, right? I don't know who to Dynamax here. Like, this one's weird. Because both Landorus and Zapdos are super weak to, like, one thing on my opponent's team. Like, I don't really want to bring Zapdos out against a Cinderace that could be in the sun. That could be scary. So I don't really know what to lead with, because, quite frankly, I don't want to lead with either of my potential max options here. So maybe it's Urshifu. I really like Grimmsnarl Urshifu with this team. And then Zapdos and Landorus in the back. Because basically, I want to play around my opponent's lead. In the previous games, I basically set the tempo a little bit earlier on. Oh, not in Game 1, I guess. Game 2 and Game 3, like, by leading something I wanted to Dynamax with. But in this game, I think we have to see what comes out first, whether it's Cinderace or Blastoise, because I think those are the two main max threats. And then we play around it accordingly. Because if I lead him properly into... okay, my opponent actually just ends up leading both. That's cool. Is that a problem? If you have Fake Out on Blastoise, you could Fake Out Steel Spike me here. Would you really have Fake Out here? Gotta say, I did not see this lead coming. Shell Smash is also scary, right? I'd rather shut down Blastoise. I think I'm just gonna trick the Blastoise in close combat into Cinderace. But... nice lead. Nice lead. Oh man, I mean, actually, no, I should have shut down Cinderace. Yeah. Especially if you, like, Fake Out Airstream. That wasn't the best play on my end. I don't know, I just really was worried about Blastoise, like, setting up, but in retrospect, even if it sets up, is it really that much of a problem? I wonder if it's Scarfed here. What do you have? It is Scarfed, yeah. Well, this is bad, because I think I'm just going to get Airstream Water Spouted. That's actually really bad, isn't it? How do I beat this now? Dynamax Zapdos, I guess. Bad play on my end. I should have shut down Cinderace. Like, Cinderace is more likely to max than this, too. I just, for some reason in my head, like, Shell Smash... Oh! Oh! Wait, okay. Okay. Maybe things are okay then. I will take that. They bring out Comfey, but that's fine. That's hilarious. After just using Flip Turn Swampert, too. Yeah, I feel like you didn't need to really go for that, though, because, like, Urshifu carrying Sash is so common. But I'll take it, right? Like, we take those. Yeah, I'm gonna just set up a Reflect now, then. Reflect is so good against the Cinderace. And you probably Draining Kiss into Urshifu. I'm gonna protect it, because it just stalls out another turn of Dynamax from my opponent's end, right? Very interesting. Well, that's another way to activate Policy. Self-flip turn. You know, this is exactly like the Swampert stuff we were just using. But I feel like if my opponent had Water Spout, I'd be really surprised if he didn't have Water Spout, because I feel like that's so good in a Scarf Swampert. Like, sorry, Scarf Blastoise. Like, that's literally the first attack I'd want to run in a Scarf Blastoise. Then it's, like, just so bad for us. Oh, nice Draining Kiss on a Grimmsnarl. Well played. I mean, as long as I get Reflect up, I don't really care. Yeah, because it makes my time against the Cinderace so much easier. And they're going to go for Airstream. Yep, that's fine. Like, it would have been better to get the full Incense onto the Cinderace. Like, also, the reason I went for that Protect is because, like, I think my opponent could easily flip their attacks there. And it doesn't matter if the Urshifu goes down. Like, Urshifu isn't going to get a Sucker Punch off if I'm getting Draining Kissed anyway. Question is whether or not I go into Zapdos or Landorus. It's probably Zapdos, right? I just don't want to switch out Grimmsnarl as my one hesitation. Because these two are so good for me in this endgame. I gotta Reflect up as well. Like, the Cinderace is not really doing much damage at this point. Especially if I switch in Landorus for an Intimidate. I don't know who to go out into. I think it's probably Zapdos, just because this is the same scenario we were in Game 1, and feel like Zapdos is a better max option across the board. Okay, so they have one more turn on max, +2 speed. Reflect is up on my end. So here's the thing. I could switch Grimmsnarl out into Zapdos, or sorry, into Landorus. I think this is worth it, yeah. The problem is I don't know if I one-shot Cinderace, right? You probably just change into Fire type. This turn is tricky, right? Because obviously I have the Scarf, so you're going to predict me to switch out, but Zapdos is a pretty big offensive threat as well. I think I want to Airstream Comfey, to be honest. I'm going to go into Landorus and max Airstream, because I don't think you KO the Landorus after Intimidate and Reflect, and even if I'm at low HP, like, it's fine. The reason I'm not targeting Cinderace here, by the way, is because Comfey is next to it, right? So Comfey can just heal it if I don't KO Cinderace, and I don't think I can KO it here. I'm not confident. If Cinderace were like under 50%, then yeah, I'd go for it, but I don't think it will be in that range. So this time around, we have the late Dynamax, which is really good. But the problem is that we don't have much offense, plus through that trick, I now have a Scarf on the Grimmsnarl. Now, we can always get rid of the Scarf by just bringing it back in and tricking it away again, but I don't know how easy that will be able to accomplish. Okay. Yeah, they just heal themselves up immediately here. That also makes sense, actually. Yeah. Actually, you don't have another play to go for there, so I don't think it's ever targeting the Cinderace. And they go for Flare, yeah. Well, with Reflect and Intimidate, I don't think this does that much damage. And they target Zapdos. Okay, that's huge. Yeah, that's huge. I think that puts us in a really winning position now. Because, like, you just don't do that much damage there. Your Dynamax is over. Let's see if we can one-shot Comfey here. Oh, it's Sash. Okay. Okay, now my only question is whether or not Pyro Ball knocks out Landorus, but I just really don't think so with the sun being up. Like, I really don't think so. So I think we're in an endgame now where, like, Zapdos is in a really good spot. Yeah, I really don't think you KO us here. So I have Earthquake. I think it's just an Earthquake here. And then Airstream into Comfey. I really want to get rid of Comfey. Cinderace is not that much of a concern right now to me. May have been better to actually... I don't know. Because I guess now the concern is if I get crit. But I feel like Zapdos is also in such a good endgame position against my opponent's entire team, because their team is just really frail. Yeah, they just go for Giga Drain, that's fine. Like, I'm pretty sure we survive a Pyro Ball in Sun, given the Reflect and the Intimidate. Ah, nice bounce. Okay, that's a really good bounce. But I think it's fine. Yeah. I mean, they did stall out my 2 turns of my Dynamax really effectively. But your Cinderace isn't doing much damage to me at this point. Plus, I'm boosting my speed continuously, and I think I have better late-game offense with Zapdos plus Landorus as opposed to the Cinderace plus whatever else. We know Blastoise is obviously in the back, and that has the Incense, so that's always going to go last. I doubt you have Fake Out if you're a Choice Scarf set, but I don't know. What would you run in a Scarf set? Flip Turn, Water Spout, Ice Beam, Filler Move. I mean, Fake Out could still work on it, honestly, but it's rare, obviously. That is, I guess, wrong on the weakness policy, though. I thought it would just be classic Life Orb Cinderace policy on the Swampert, but not the case. I do think this game could have gone really downhill if my opponent just clicked like Water Spout turn 1, so the fact that they didn't help this a lot. They bring out Torkoal, and that's fine. Oh, they're Air Balloon, interesting. Okay. We still have 2 turns to Reflect. We're at +2 speed. Cinderace is at +2 speed. So I think it's actually super safe here to just... I don't even need an EQ, right? Well, Cinderace will go first. Yeah, so we Rock Slide, and we Max Airstream Torkoal. I think Life Orb Max Airstream might just one-shot Torkoal here. But they probably protect, yeah. But to be honest, like, I know you're protecting, but I don't care. Because I don't see how my opponent beats Zapdos at this point. Yeah, so Bounce comes down. They need a crit here. If they don't crit, we win. Yeah, nice. Because now, with the 3rd Airstream, we outspeed Cinderace, I break your Air Balloon as well, and I get a Rock Slide off into the Cinderace. So now I just have, you know, fully sped up Landorus plus Zapdos. Assault Vest is still up, and both of our Dynamaxes are over, but I think we're in a much better position. That being said, I think this is an example of how games can snowball really quickly, and my opponent... we missed the Rock Slide there, but that's fine. What do I want to say here? Yeah, this game could have snowballed really out of control in turn 1. One more turn to Reflect, which is good. I've got Earthquake. I mean, Torkoal's scarier, to be honest. Like, I don't really think Cinderace is much of a threat here. So I'm just going to Rock Slide here and Thunderbolt into the Torkoal. That miss may hurt a little bit. I think if we don't miss there, we can just Thunderbolt Cinderace Earthquake, and that's just game right there. But you can see how strong Life Orb Zapdos is. we did get a crit there, but I don't think that mattered. Life Orb Zapdos is just such a monster. Wait, they're still faster. That may be a problem. Right, because I only have 2 speed boosts on Landorus, right? But Zapdos is clutch and hangs on. Oh, we missed another Rock Slide, though. Oh, my goodness. I could have Earthquake there. That would have won it for us. Wait. If you actually have Fake Out on Blastoise, this could be a problem. Oh. The other question is whether or not you have Protect on the Cinderace. I actually do think it's going to carry Protect in this position. Oh, man. Wait, those misses may have hurt a little bit. Oh, what do I do now? I have AV. Sun is up. I mean, it's definitely an EQ here, but I don't know whether or not it's a Thunderbolt into Blastoise now. No, I'm going to target Cinderace. Oh, they have Sucker Punch, too. I should have predicted Sucker Punch. Oh, wow. Those misses actually may have cost us. We get a Paralysis, though. So if I survive an attack from the Blastoise, I think maybe we're still okay then, because we outspeed Cinderace with the Para. Should I have Earthquake, then? Or just Thunderbolted Cinderace on the come down? Okay, the Ice Beam. Does that one-shot us with the AV? Oh my goodness, it does. We're actually going to lose, I think. Unless we... What do we need? We need Paras on the Cinderace now. That's pretty much what it boils down to. I should have thought about double Rock Slide miss as a potential way to lose. Because I knew... With the Cinderace coming down, I didn't think Earthquake would KO the Torkoal from the range that it was at. Which is why I wanted to guarantee to knock out with the Thunderbolt onto that slot. But it may have been correct to actually Thunderbolt into Cinderace and Earthquake. I just thought... I didn't think about a double Rock Slide miss. We win on a Para, potentially, still. But actually, I think that's pretty much what it boils down to. I also could have protected with Zapdos there, and that may have been a winning play. They go for Pyro Ball. Yeah, I think that's game. Oh, I really didn't think about double Rock Slide miss. Man. That's unfortunate. That really sucks. I think I might have misplayed the endgame then. Yeah, they Flash Cannon. So Ice Beam, Flash Cannon, Flip Turn, Water Spout is my guess on the moveset. I forgot that the Cinderace was still faster than us. Because I didn't get all the speed boosts onto the Landorus. That was my mistake. So I should have changed my play then because of that. Yeah, I'm curious on the sets here. Yeah, it was Weakness Policy. It was a good bounce earlier. Torkoal, Air Balloon. I guess I don't think I needed to give Torkoal so much respect. I was just worried about a Heat Wave in Sun, but we're Assault Vest. Zapdos should survive as well. So, like, the turn my opponent protected Torkoal was super obvious, right? And I was like, oh, I'll just give myself a speed boost. But what I should have done was Thunderbolt Cinderace and Earthquake instead of leaving myself open to missing Rock Slide. But then I was just worried about Heat Wave crit. But the chances of critting are slimmer than a double Rock Slide miss. So yeah. I think if we hit one of the 2 Rock Slides, we win this one. So the odds of losing were slim, but I probably could have maximized my odds a little bit better. I just thought we had it sealed up, to be honest, and I didn't think about the double. Wait. It's not Focus Sash? Oh, wait, yeah. Did it just survive with 1 HP on the Zapdos? I thought it was Sash. I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah, I didn't give it a Sash or anything. Oh, that's funny. Actually, I'm curious about the damage calc against Comfey here. This was kind of a long episode. This last game took longer than I was expecting. That was a fun one for sure. I mean, a little disappointed in myself. I should have come up with a better win con in that position. I thought it was wrapped up, but that's why you should, like, that's an example of a game how you should always consider the worst case scenario and try to not use any inaccurate attacks in the end game. Okay, Life Orb, Max Light. No, we went Max Airstream, right? Yeah, Max Airstream into Comfey. How much bulk does this have? Any Spadef? Okay, so Timid Max Airstream against this has a 25% chance to one-shot. So it's not like the best roll. Okay, yeah, also, how much was Earthquake from Landorus doing against the Torkoal? Because I probably should have just Thunderbolted Cinderace. I just didn't know if I could KO Torkoal. But the thing is, Torkoal, actually, if you look at this moveset, didn't even have anything to damage us with. That being said, I think assuming it has Heat Wave is not, like, crazy or anything. This has 177 HP, 161 defense. EQ does 66 to 78%. So I actually think the better play then would have been to just Thunderbolt Cinderace and Earthquake. Even if you have Heat Wave, you probably don't KO us. Yeah. I shouldn't have clicked Rock Slide. Like, I was just like, I didn't even see how we could potentially lose. And the answer is a double Rock Slide miss. So, well done to my opponent for playing to their outs there. Like, Bounce was a really good play because it buys you a turn and stalls out a turn of my Dynamax. Sucker Punch I should have thought about, but even if I predict the Sucker Punch, like, I don't really have a way around it. Our win con there was a para, basically, on Cinderace, because if we get the para, well, they had Flash Cannon anyway, actually, so we probably lose, regardless, because I don't think Grimmsnarl wins the 1v1 against Blastoise. Like, we needed it to not have any really strong attacks there. So. The turn Torkoal protected. My opponent bounced. I mean, that was a really safe play on their end. So then the next turn, the question is whether or not I should have just T-Bolt EQ'd, right? That's pretty much what it boiled down to. I guess the answer is probably yes there. Yeah, I also... Yeah, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. Oops. Anyway, interesting set of games. I think this example, this is a game where it's like I win 99% of the time, but the fact that that 1% chance existed meant that I needed to try to prevent those odds a little bit better. And I didn't really think about the endgame as clearly as I should have. So I shouldn't have risked clicking Rock Slide twice. Because if I just Earthquaked on Landorus too, that was actually a really big misplay. Yeah, because my opponent always has the Power Ball with Cinderace, right? So why click Rock Slide there? The reason I clicked Rock Slide was because I forgot we were slower than Cinderace. So I should have remembered that. Yeah, I should have remembered that we were slower than the Cinderace because we had the same number of speed boosts. So if I remember that, then I always click Earthquake in that position, and that's a way to not rely on hitting a Rock Slide there. Because knowing that you are going to be slower, I also could have just tricked Grimmsnarl, the Cinderace turn 1, which I absolutely should have. Like, that was a misplay. I was just really worried about Blastoise, like, setting up in front of me, but I think turn 1 immediately was a mistake on my end. So even though we played out of it, we still ended up losing. Like, I think this is a great example of, like, multiple points in the match in which I could have played better. Plus, turn 1 could have gone disastrously had my opponent made a slightly different play. So, needed to target the Cinderace instead. But, yeah, cool to see the flip turn stuff. I mean, we just used flip turn Swampert plus weakness policy Cinderace. So, yeah. What I wanted to say, though, was this is a perfect example of a game where, like, there were so many things that went wrong. And even though it's frustrating losing, like, I can pinpoint to, like, 3 different things that we could have done better. And even with all those, like, we were still... had a 99% chance to win in this endgame, and even though we didn't, like, the fact that there's so many other plays we could have done that were better is nice, because it means that there was a lot of room to improve, and that's how you should really try to analyze your gameplay, even if you get really unlucky in these potential endgames. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Thank you to Zine for the team. Once again, you can try out the team. Rental code is down there in the description below. So, thanks as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will catch you all next time. All right. Peace.